Hey everybody, how you doing? I'm Pav, the racing VTuber and an artist, and today we are going to be working on a buffer for the schedule art. So if you're not familiar with what a buffer is, so basically when you have something that updates regularly, or that has a... Hang on. Okay, that's from the stroke that I've been giving these. Has that always been... Has that been a thing for, like, all of them? For the past... No way. No, no. Okay, well, I'm not gonna let it bother me. It's not gonna bother me. I'm not... You know what? If I don't bring it up any more than I have already, it should be fine. I just need to not ever bring it up, and nobody will ever know. Now, the way we do this, however, is that we are going to use the object selection on... Actually, we can get rid of the... I mean, no, we should probably keep that one. I'm talking about these guys. There we go. Okay, that way we have two of them, but only the one on top will be visible. That's gonna fix that little conundrum. God, I remember somebody once, I think it was Toast actually, who was like, Happy Words Day. Because I go Monday, Wednesday, that's not how the days go. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then I have an R instead of Thursday. And that's mostly to differentiate it from Tuesday, right? I remember my university had like this thing. It had the exact same quirk. So if it told you that classes were on Thursdays and Tuesdays, for example, it would go like it is on T and R. It took me a while to understand it, actually. I was like, R's Day. Pirate Day? No, but like I eventually did what, you know, it was very much a process of elimination. And they don't have classes on the weekends, which is probably for the best. Could you imagine? University is hard enough as it is. But yeah, we are going to be building a buffer. So I first learned about buffers through webcomics. I imagine that they have it's a very flexible term. I know that people have such things as like content buffers, post buffers, etc. What it is that it basically is just that. It's like it's stuff prepared in advance so that whenever you have to put it out, you just have it ready. You don't need to work per deadline to deadline on these. You can just work on a batch and then just have a nice, comfortable amount of stuff in store, just in case you like fall sick, you have some conflict, you have some issue, and you can't get to it that week. I am currently going through a rather difficult period in my life. So I'm hoping to build a buffer somewhat, and one of the ones that I want to do is... I actually have a few of them. I have a couple of them saved up. So I have one from Sakamoto Days, which is a really fun manga. I can recommend it. The other one is this picture of this crying girl saying like, this shit is so ass. I will not have a caption on it. It's probably going to look a lot more like this Chainsaw Man panel down here. I have a few other ones. I don't even remember where fucking this one was, but this one I have an idea to make like a two-parter. I really like this picture. I don't know how I'm going to transfer it because like the expression of the eyes is like half the battle. But let's start off small. So let's just do Sakamoto Days first. So for this one, let's actually let's keep these out of here. But yeah, this is a picture of the main character. He has like a mode where he's fat, and he has a mode where he's like very skinny. The one where he's fat really feels like a meat coated. So I'm going to be relying on that one for reference. Let me just get rid of the borders here. Okay, that also got rid of the wand tool is a little bit aggressive. Now it looks like he's like in like a void of light. But yeah, let's take a look and see what we can do. I definitely want to have the apron. I feel like that's a really big part of it. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay. So very straight jeans, socks with the sliders. I don't know what that shirt is supposed to say. It probably shows it off in another one. But let's see. Oh yeah, I need to set my pen to the right size as well. I do like that his face is very tall, if that makes sense. Like, it does give very strongly the feeling of a double chin. The only issue is that I'm not going to be able to do not the double chin, the little ponytail that he has back here, which I think is a very important part of his charm. I've often thought a little bit about like the possibility of alternating my hairstyle by tying the top of my rice bag together in a knot like this. But that looks a little bit too much like a sausage, or like, I don't know, I just fear that it'll create some kind of uncanny valley effect. I think for the pose, I'm going to try and do it like, instead of holding a gun, it'll be like a drawing pen. That is the benefit of being an artist, is that you have like a thing. If I wasn't an artist and I just had the exact same interests and such, I would be way more in trouble, because like I don't have any interest in firearms. That is like completely outside of, like, I'm familiar with a couple of them, like just because of the design elements and the fact that I've had characters who use firearms. I've tried to like get a little bit familiar with them, but I don't really like them in general. They're not one of my interests. So because of that, like the only other thing that I could hold is like maybe a Chinese sword, or I don't know, something of that nature, because I couldn't. It's very difficult to like brandish something like this when you have, hang on, kind of huge. It's very difficult to brandish something like this when it's not like, how do I put this? It's very difficult to explain. You can't brandish something that you just don't have, right? If you just randomly add a gun out of nowhere, it's strange. So yeah, having a drawing tablet pen is useful as a substitute. Not to mention the perspective would be all off if I did use a Chinese saber. I used to be more into Western swords as a kid, but something in my taste changed over time. I've also started getting a soft spot for Chinese maces. And, you know, Western maces too, but I don't know. I feel like a saber and a mace are the ones that would like most suit the shape of my body. There was that idea, right? Hang on. This is gonna go in like this. I might have made this hand a little bit too big, or maybe with foreshortening it'll look alright. I don't know. But yeah, it's very strange because like I don't know. Because I have a larger body, it's very strange to use like thinner weapons, right? Like if I were trying to use a Jian instead of a saber, right? That would look a little bit strange. Just due to the fact that like it's a very small straight sword. And I am a large, curvy gentleman. Kind of like that. I need to start doing, you know what I do need to start doing more frequently is just figure drawing streams. I feel like I'm losing my mojo in that regard. I don't know, I feel like I've been having a more difficult time drawing hands recently, which is terrifying because I feel like that was like one of my major strengths at one point. So I'd rather not have to go through the process of relearning to do that. I don't remember when I started being good at drawing hands. Or rather when I started feeling like I hit my stride with drawing hands. But I remember it happened at some point. His head reminds me a little bit of a squash. And I made it way too big. Oh my goodness. It should only be about this big. God, I remember when I was reading... Have you ever had that bit played on you? Not really played on you, I guess, but have you ever been pranked by someone being like, "Hey, if your hand is bigger than your face, it means this and this," and so naturally, you know, it can be a whole bunch of different things. The one that I heard originally was like, it means that you're dumb, and you know, you like the point of it is so that you would instinctively like hold your hand up to your face and be like, "Really?" And then you slap the hand, and then the other person would slap your hand. So it's like a two-parter bit. You would raise your hand, the other person would slap your hand, and that would be like the prank that, you know, they got you to raise your hand and so that they could slap it over your face. And I gotta add my fangs. I do think that it works really well for him to just have a little pencil or toothbrush mustache. Pencil stash? No, pencil stash is a different thing, isn't it? Hang on. Pencil stash. No, pencil stash is a different thing. The pencil stash is the one that looks like this. Hang on. That looks like this. Like, it literally looks very thin and drawn on with a pencil. I'm thinking, like, of a toothbrush stash. Yeah. Unfortunately... Oh, God. Let's not talk about what that image on the bottom right was. I don't even want to know what that was about. Ugh, God, what the hell was that? Anyway, unfortunately, that has been co-opted by a strong contender for the worst person on Earth, and also Charlie Chaplin. So I kind of want to widen it a little bit just to be on the safe side. The head proportions still look a little bit busted. I'm gonna shrink it just a tiny bit. Also, my shoulder and neck height are way smaller than Sakamoto's. Okay, then let's add the apron color here. Oh god, it's gonna look super weird with like the flowy apron. Apron? Apron? One singular prawn. I'm 1 in a trillion. But yeah, it's gonna look a little bit with the flowy apron, because if I try to do as big of a cape swoosh with like an apron size for me, that's gonna like end up beyond my feet, right? It's gonna be like one of those really long impractical bridal trains. But yeah, pencil mustache is very hard to rock. I don't know what the easiest type of mustache to rock is, quite frankly. I don't have a lot of experience growing facial hair. Well, no, I guess it's not so much rock as it is just like, it's also difficult because nobody's facial hair grows in a uniform pattern, right? There are like folks who will never be able to like connect the loop for their facial hair, right? So certain styles will be unavailable to them. There's no one style that is like universally available. Even like the pencil stash, which is like the minimal amount of hair possible, is like very, very difficult can be difficult for people to do, because I have seen folks who have like issues growing hair like in the mid, like right in the middle of between their in like the cleft of their lips, or like on the bridge of their lips, or right below their nose. Okay, then over here. Let's flip these upside down. There we go. It also had a red stripe somewhere underneath here, but that's not going to be feasible to depict here. Let's see. The cup noodles. Actually, I do actually have a preferred brand of cup noodles. I have this one I like this Korean brand called like Jin Noodles, which has like this blue exterior. I'm going to try and parody those instead of the classic cup noodle cup. I imagine they're pretty big, because I've always been able to find them pretty easily. I do wonder if my expectations for what instant noodles should feel like have been influenced by this, because like I remember eating this. I remember perhaps not ironically, but appropriately enough, I remember one of my core memories is being like 8 years old, maybe 7, 8, maybe 8 years old. And at the time, my family had moved to a new neighborhood, and in order to like give us a way to integrate into the neighborhood, they signed us up for some Taekwondo classes that were being held nearby. And I had no like at the time I was still learning some new languages, right? This was like getting out of Ecuador and into somewhere else, so I had trouble adapting to the language. So because of that, I had a rather miserable time, because first of all, I was 7, and it's very difficult to get into something when you're 7 years old unless it's like Pokemon. And also, I didn't have my love for martial arts that I do now back then. So that was one barrier to entry, and the other one was of course like the language barrier. But a core memory of mine is like coming back from one of those Taekwondo classes, and our parents like making us one of these cup noodles with an egg in it, and me just like slurping it down. I was not great with spicy food, but even though it was spicy, I still slurped that thing. Yeah, so yeah, that's a pretty fond memory of mine. It was especially delicious because Ecuador doesn't really have winters, and this was during like, and the place where we lived at the time did have proper winters. So you know, I hadn't really like experienced the thrill, I suppose, the comfort of eating something hot when you're coming out of the cold. I don't know. It was like a lot of different new experiences for me in one go, but it did turn out to be a core memory. I am glad that core memory has like become a popular turn of phrase because I think it really does. It's really a very succinct way of saying that something isn't necessarily like didn't really change you significantly, but you still remember it. Like you will still recall it even long after it has stopped being relevant. I need to make the cup itself smaller. I have like huge wrestler hands. That is something that I've been craving to do, is to revamp my reference sheet as well. But it's hard to say when I'll have time to properly do that. So yeah, very funny body proportions on me. Big old hands, big old feet, very short stature. A lot of junk in the trunk. I'm less so the Vitruvian man and more so the Vitruvian enano. Did we ever figure out what the Vitruvian man was supposed to be? Like, hang on, what is the Vitruvian man supposed to be? Right, I do know that it's a Da Vinci joint. Let's see. Okay, inspired by the writing of an ancient Roman architect Vitruvius, the drawing depicts a nude man with two superimposed positions with his arms and legs apart and inscribed in both a circle and a square. It was described by the art historian Carmen C. Baumbach as justly ranked among the all-time iconic images of Western civilization. That is true. Although not the only known drawing of a man inspired by the writing of Vitruvius, the work is a unique synthesis of artistic and scientific ideals and often considered an archetypal representation of the High Renaissance. Leonardo's conception of ideal body proportions, derived from Vitruvius but influenced by his own measurements, the drawing of his contemporaries, and the Pictura treatise by Leon Battista Alberti. That's what they named Alberta after. Leonardo produced the Vitruvian Man in Milan, and the work was probably passed to his student Francesco Melzi. It later came into the possession of Venanzio de Pagave, who convinced the engraver Carlo Giuseppe Gerli to include it in a book of Leonardo's drawings, which widely disseminated the previously little-known image. It was later owned by Giuseppe Bossi, who wrote early scholarships on it, and eventually sold it to the Galleria dell'Accademia of Venice in 1822, where it has remained since. Damn, so more than 200 years in the same place. Due to its sensitivity to light, the drawing rarely goes on public display, but it was borrowed by the Louvre in 2019 for their exhibition marking the 500th anniversary of Leonardo's death. What's this de Pictura business about? On Painting is a treatise or commemorati written by the Italian humanist and artist Leon Battista Alberti. The first version, composed in Latin in 1435, was not published until 1450. It is one of his three treatises on art. The other two, De Statua and De Re e de Victoria, would later form the Renaissance concept for the fine arts: painting, sculpture, and architecture. Oh, so this dude was like the Andrew Loomis of like the of his era. Yeah, content, book 1. A simple introduction for young boys in preparation for studying painting. A survey of types of painting for teenage trainees in a workshop. Advice to the adult painter on how to perfect his skill. Influence. The Pictura influenced the work of artists including Donatello, Ghiberti, Botticelli, and Ghirlandaio. His treatment of perspective was the most influential of his recommendations, being powerfully implemented by Leonardo da Vinci and through him the whole Italian Renaissance. Very nice. 29 uses of Pliny the Elder's natural history, deriving his key themes of simplicity and seriousness directly from Pliny. For example, Alberti advises artists to use color with restraint and to paint in the effect of gold rather than using actual gold in their paintings. Gold did indeed vanish from Italian paintings in the second part of the 15th century. Artists, however, found their own ways to paint with restraint, rather than following Alberti's actual instructions directly. Similarly, he encouraged artists to add black when modeling shapes, rather than only adding white, as Cennino Cennini, tough name, had advised in his 1390 Il Libro dell'Arte. This advice had the effect of making Italian Renaissance paintings more somber. Alberti was here perhaps following Pliny's description of the dark varnish used by Apelles. It is fascinating to see how, I don't know, like, it feels difficult to imagine something as something as influential as this does exist. Oh my god, it's a donut blender tutorial. Fuck, the modern depictura of our time is the blender donut tutorial on YouTube. That's kind of hateful, actually. I hate that tutorial. I'm really not a fan of it. I feel like it's too dense. I prefer to, like, I don't know. I don't know if this is like maybe a bad approach to take, but whenever I'm learning how to do something new, I usually have some kind of goal or end product in mind. But because of this, I often don't get very much depth. I only get as much depth as I need for for my purposes. Anyway, I'm adding the Vitruvian Man to this sucker. We get a little bit of highbrow in here. We can have a little bit of one moment, please. Maybe right like around there, and then filter, and then what was it, like effect mosaic? There we go. Is that sufficient to, like, yeah, okay, that should do it. Wait, do you think that, like, because this shows the ideal proportions, is also do you think that's also ideally proportioned by Da Vinci's? Do you think that he like, on what basis did he, like, you know what, I shan't speak. I don't need to say anymore. Anyway, so about the Sakamoto Days fella, huh? That's right. It's a perfect exercise. I comment. I thought I was alone with my thoughts for that one. I'm sorry I had to waste your time with that. Ay, Dios. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little mortified that I spent that long on a dick joke. It's okay, I'm happy that you're here. Right, this gin ramen stuff. I think it is funnier that you acknowledged it. Good work. That was a wonderful receive. God. That does also raise the question of how I'm going to do it when I put myself in there. Because I can't really, like... I can't really take the same approach as Leonardo. Maybe I'll just put a leaf over it or something. Who knows? God, have you seen that picture that's like, get ready for fat girl fall? Leave him guessing. That's right. Always protect your online anonymity on the internet. That includes every part of you. Have you seen that picture of like a blonde girl with like in winter clothing that's like, get ready for white girl winter or like fat girl fall and such? I have not seen that picture. I can't really bring it up right now. So imagine it in the theater of your mind, I suppose. Anyway, I remember somebody posted that picture, and the thing is that like the picture does depict a very attractive blonde woman, but it like cuts off kind of like below her waist, like at her waist. And I remember very distinctly like one time seeing somebody comment on it. Now pan the camera a little bit down for me. I think I know it. Hey, Ndala. Yeah, it's it's like this anime blonde girl, Super Bochiko, I think her name is, that is like in a winter outfit. It's a very cute picture. I like it a lot. Found it nice. Yeah. The proportions on this thing are throwing me off a little bit, and I don't know if that's because I made the legs too short or too wide. Oh yeah, sorry, I've disabled like link sharing. Hang on. DM it to me on Discord, and I will post it for everyone's edification. I think we have each other on Discord somewhere. No, we do. But I remember because I sent you the bauble on like a couple of holidays ago. Gracias. Hideki Naganuma? Composer of the hit soundtrack for Jet Set Radio? What the fuck? Holy CEO of Funky Fresh Beats. PhD. Jeez. I didn't know that he posted that one. Hideki Naganuma will post fucking anything. Yeah, no. Definitely among one of the greatest posters of our generation. Well, not my generation. I do think he's like 50 now. I'm not sure how old Hideki Naganuma is, actually. Hang on, let me look it up. How old is Hideki Naganuma? Composer and DJ who primarily works for video games. Years active. He is 52 years old. Half a decade on God's beautiful earth. Posting shit like this. The human spirit is truly indomitable. This guy's profile's a hoot and a half. Hang on, let me check the profile as well. Okay. Oh yeah, he did do stuff for Bomb Rush Cyberpunk. Cyber Rush. Ramen Writer is the next new common writer. That's right. If you have any questions for me, please write them down on a piece of paper and put it away in your desk drawer. Reclusive artists are like one of the top 10 posters on Earth. And I think it's definitely like like an issue of supply and demand, right? Like if somebody's out here saying shit 24/7, it's like, oh, that rascal, I don't know, friggin' Sabaton fan, you know, he's posting again about like how he received like friggin', I don't know, Taoist mind projection techniques training while jerking it in the Shaolin Temple. Ideal job. I mean, yeah, kind of. Honestly, I do think that like reclusive artists have like the most benefit because like if you have, you know, you're first of all you're making that bag, which is important critically, of course, but also like you don't get harassed over every little thing because nobody knows what the hell you're doing. Nobody has like any reference for what the fuck you're up to, whether you were an event or you weren't. And that is like an invaluable privilege these days because I have seen how like a lot of fans act towards like talents who they know everything, you know, to people, to creative people who they are like acutely aware of their procedures and activities. And it sucks. It is not great for the people in question because, you know, they feel monitored, they feel like they cannot know peace, and that sucks for anyone. And again, if nobody knows what the hell you're up to or what you're doing, then like how are they going to harass you? How are they going to like observe you? Do we have like the font for this? Hang on, do we know like what the font is for Sakamoto Days? Sakamoto, okay, there's Sakamoto regular. Somebody must have decoded it by now. I have no idea. No shot that like I looked up Sakamoto Days font and like the third. No, wait, hang on. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. The 10th hit is some power scaling bullshit. Get real. This is a gag manga. we clown in this motherfucker. Better take your sensitive ass back to Jujutsu Kaisen. I remember actually reading Jujutsu Kaisen before it got the anime announcement. I remember liking it quite a bit, but having a difficult time following the plot during the arc where like Toto is introduced. Holy shit, it's Papamoto Days. Hey, Ryan. That's right. Honestly, like, I do recommend Sakamoto Days just to see the kind of... I don't know. I feel like Sakamoto Days is really good for providing a threshold for believable bullshit that a character can do within like an action setting. Because this fucking guy at one point in one of the arcs, from what I remember of my read through, got sent flying out of a train, crashed into a train that was going parallel to the other train, ran through the parallel train fast enough to catch up with the original train, leapt out of the window, and launched himself back into the original train. That is the most hardcore shit possibly ever. Yeah, I've done that before. Nice. Like just for the kicks, or like were you in pursuit of someone as well? Hang on, I think I have an idea for how to edit this. All right, so here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna grab this. Not allowed to say why, unfortunately. I understand. We can also probably get rid of the gin ramen cup. An NDA? Yeah, probably something like that. Alright, so we're gonna turn this D into a P. Just narrowing that down a little bit. We do a little bit of transmutation. Wait, shit, how am I gonna do a B? Yeah, we also need to narrow down this D a little bit more. We can probably use the A for alignment here. Wait, which layer? Oh, here we go. Use the S. I mean, I might just be able to use 2 of these. Hang on. Trying to think real hard here. If this is like worth the sheer amount of editing that I'm undertaking here. Got it, okay. Shrink that down a tiny bit. Oh wait, I don't need to edit it anymore actually, hang on. I just need to just grab this. Alright, and we can just merge these together. Actually, I can probably merge these 2 together now. Pabs days. I think it has to be Papamoto because then I get to fit my tiny face in the logo here. Where did my D go? Where's the D? You cannibalize it. That's right, I forgot. I forgot that I did do that. What the hell? Is it just gone? No, wait. Oh my god, How do I, how do I get this? How do I get that? Oh wait, no, hang on. I know how to fix this, I know how to fix this. Fuck you mean no objects to transform? It's right there! Okay, there we go. There it is. That entire federal fucking issue just to do a logo. Someone's not gonna notice the D is often mentioned when you upload this. It's probably going to be you, since you are the main person privy to this information. Well, hang on. The thing is that this is going to be a buffer. I don't necessarily need to put this one out first, right? By the time I put it out, you might even forget that I had to, like, do some sorcery on this shit. I'm going to take that opportunity. I'm going to take that chance. I don't forget that kind of stuff. You will. You will. You're going to forget. I could also just... Hang on. Who says that I even need to follow the original logo? I have a bunch of different fonts right here. Hang on. What would be a good one for this? I remember that I used one for Valentine's Day that was really good. But I don't remember its name. Hang on, maybe it's in my recently used fonts. Oh, there we go. San Marino Beach... something or other. San Marino Beach Regular. No, it's bugging me. It's bugging me that it's not the same. It's bugging me that it's not the same, and it's gonna bug me unless forever unless I fix it. God damn it. Alright, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do a little bit of sorcery on this shit. We're gonna need a high resolution picture of the logo itself. Alright. Then what we're gonna do is we're gonna just get rid of this layer. We don't need it anymore. Actually, hang on. If we just kind of do, like, right-hand kerning here. I don't think that's what kerning is, actually. Hang on. Alright, here's what we're going to do. First of all, we're going to put this in a folder. We're going to put all of these into a folder just so that we don't forget. We're eventually going to file this A down into a P. Organizing, that's right. Our mistake was not ambition. Our mistake was lack of preparation. Okay, gonna graph this D onto the A. And once we put them in a folder, maybe take a drink and stretch and save. Hang on. We'll see. We'll see. It wouldn't be a bad idea to take a little bit of a stretch soon, though. Okay, put this together. Samoto. Okay, and then we can probably graft the T together to make an L. Just gotta align this perfectly. Keep the original letterhead. The ominous floating Sakamoto ball. And then move this over here. Just wholesale, no bullshit, no nothing. Okay, now we work our dark alchemy. My Sakamorb. Whoa, Sakamorba be upon ye. Sakamorbo. Regular days. I do... Funnily enough, I do remember a... It might not have been Hideki Naganuma now that I think about it, but I do remember a track from that one game about like really hardcore baseball. I forgot what the name of the game was. It was League something. Lethal League. Lethal League Blaze. There's a song from that game called Ordinary Days, which is really good. I am kind of sad that I didn't get more into Lethal League, but at the same time, it's like... I'm already like 5... No, I only have like 2 or 3 fighting games going on at any given time. Okay, and then what we can do is we can just erase the A over here. Then the D. What I'm going to do is I'm going to copy and paste this and just make a normal B out of them. That's going to be phase 1 of this particular scheme. Phase 2 then will be kind of drafting them, like making them a little bit more transparent like this, and then shrinking them down like so. Perfect. That looks a little bit too much like 2Ds together though. Hang on, there might be a better way to do this. To skin this particular cat. There we go. That'll probably look more natural. Yeah, that definitely is looking a little bit less intense. All right, I like that. The next up, the T. Me when I'm introducing an alien to beverages and we're finally getting onto like the warm beverages. I don't know, if you got to introduce an alien to like a particular beverage, which one would you introduce it to first? Because like my thought is immediately like, I don't know, would water be a good introduction? Thinking about it from like the alien's perspective, because it's not particularly exciting, but it is like the most drunk substance on Earth, right? Like everybody drinks water or has drunk water at some point. You got to start with water. That's what I'm thinking, but like, is that going to be like enough to captivate them? It is the basics. Everything else comes from it, right? But like, you know, if you're introducing somebody to a movie, right? If you're trying to like get somebody into movies, you wouldn't start with like that movie of like a train that scared a crowd of people when it was first aired, right? You would start with like, fuck, I don't know, maybe you'd start with Ratatouille or some shit, but you know, you wouldn't start with like the very origins, the very basis of it. It's not about captivating, it's about see if they'll die from it first. That's fucked up too, actually. And then we introduce the Mountain Dew. Alright, now I feel like you're trying to toy with these aliens' lives as a thing. Because, like, if, you know, introducing them to water is one thing. You know, maybe that's a good idea just from, like, a scientific perspective to see if, like, our biologies are compatible in that regard. But I don't think you should be teaching those little guys, like, you shouldn't be giving those little guys, like, Mountain Dew and shit. I don't know. Like, is that going to damage their little alien brains or something? But that not, like... I feel like the Mountain Dew is just a bad idea, is all. No Mountain Dew banks, it'll rock their world. Hang on. Tonal correction, brightness and contrast, increase contrast. And once they get onto the Baja Blast, they will understand. The thing is, I don't think I want them to understand like the truth of humanity. Like like maybe they're not ready for like the truth and reality that sleeps the heart of mankind. Like I feel like we should at least start them off with like milk, maybe, or you know something else. Maybe not the drink that gives you perspective into like the human subconscious. Lemonade might be a better next step. I'm thinking so. I'm thinking maybe lemonade. I don't like milk. Well, it's not really like, and I hate to be that guy, but it's not really about like what you like, right? Even if you don't particularly like something, if your friend likes it or you think they might like it, do you have like an obligation, right? Like if you okay, like let's give this scenario, right, as a litmus test. If you're introducing your friend to fighting games and you realize over the course of the time that they play that they should be a Happy Chaos main, are you under an obligation morally to say, hey, you should try Happy Chaos, or do you just like let them try and figure it out? I do one of those drinks that just fruits and water. That might be actually kind of fire for them. I like that idea. All right, like God forbid any of us turn out to be like, you know, God forbid your friend turns out to be a zoner guy, but you know, if they do turn out to be that, do you have like some kind of moral obligation to be like, hey, you should play zoners? If you have a friend who you know will be a headcanon main, then you gotta resolve some shit with them first. A Happy Chaos main, then you gotta resolve some shit with them first. You know what? That's probably true as well. The thing about fighting games is you have to lead the horse to the river first. You can't just dunk them headfirst into it, even if it would be good for them. Right. No, I'm saying that we've already like gotten their feet wet, so to speak. We've already like taught them a little bit. You know, we played a few rounds with them. They just chose whoever, you know, really spoke to them. I don't know, that they chose whatever character they thought looked coolest or hottest. But you know, now you're seeing them play, and you're like, oh shit, this dude would definitely play a zoner. He should just go to Smash Brothers, bro. I think at that point, the one who is like in the offending party might be you. If I'm being fully real. Also, yeah, Pablo Day's real now. Now, I just gotta do a little bit of shading on the cup and on the apron. Yes. And then just here for the pen. We can just convert this to halftone. Why does it look like that? It looks much more squarish than usual. Now we don't need anything up here. No, we definitely do. I could just use solid color for that one, actually. Alright, and then pick color from layer here. Just add it to this part here. There we go. Actually, I could probably add it to a bit of the pen here, too. Not quite. That'll do. Alright. That's one down. And frankly, it was the most complicated one to begin with, so I'm not even worried about it. The next one is a Vitruvian man. This one should be fairly easy. No, wait, this is wrong. That's more like it. Alright. I think I know where to start with this one, at least. And that's going to be making the circle and the square. Throw them around here, right? The sad part about the Vitruvian Man is that it didn't really have any kind of description about, like, what is in the text underneath here. I mean, I certainly can't read that shit. What is that, Latin? Like, the handwriting itself is very difficult to make out, even though the picture has been very well preserved. We need to remove the roundness of the corner here. The interesting thing is that it starts on the same level as a circle, but it doesn't quite reach all the way up nor all the way out. Is this also at 4 pixels? Yes, it is. Alright, good. The circle's the one's a little bit thicker, actually. Oops. Wrong type of eraser. Bear dogs on top of the circle is crazy. I actually have been trying to think. I mentioned a little bit earlier that I have been thinking about redoing my reference sheet, because I feel like the way that I draw myself now has changed quite a bit since I made it. Particularly human paps. I want to redo what human paps look like because he doesn't look disproportionate enough in the original version. Also, I'm gonna give myself some modesty shorts. Not just gonna have my meat out for free, you know? Although I don't really have a Patreon, so it's gonna be hard to, like, even have it out for a monetary sum. Although I guess that's not everything that a Patreon is used for, but you know, it's a not insubstantial quantity of it. Or Fanbox or whatever. I think Patreon went a different direction with that kind of content a long time ago, and I remember that it was kind of a huge problem for a lot of people who made their living that way. Not to mention the people who were patrons of those individuals. Gotta personally DM me for the NSFW version. To get the NSFW version of this schedule art, you must answer my riddles 3. The thing is that he also has his hips turned. Might actually just, like... I mean, how much of his cheeks can you see, honestly? Not much, right? To get this NSFW version, you have to solve the 16-room puzzle! To get my NSFW version, you have to fight my 7 evil exes. My 7 evil tier 3 subscribers. Not even particularly evil individuals. They're just the only subscribers that I've got, and it happens to be 7 of them, so you know. Well, I mean, I don't currently have subscribers, period. On account of that time that I got arrested. Alright, and this reaches out to the edge of the circle here. The Notary Games! God. I think I need to blame the Vitruvian Man for, like, the degree of of like topics, for like the range of topics that we've been discussing today. I don't know, maybe it's because it's the day after Valentine's Day. It's a little bit more risque than usual. Hang on, I gotta take a look at this guy's hands. Yeah, first his dick, now your dick. The dick mimesis is, quite frankly, crazy. It is kind of bad that my head will by no means reach the top of the square like this one does. But that's... I mean, hang on. Could we not, like, adjust to size? I think that's kind of where I'm going wrong, because I feel like I'm locking myself in too harshly with the proportions here. Or actually, you know what might look better than the modesty shorts is just having like one of those like old-timey bathing suits. Old-timey bathing suits are the best. That is true. I actually kind of want to get one for myself. They look very comfortable to... Well, actually, no, they don't look particularly comfortable to swim in, but they do look nice. I like how they look. Hang on, I gotta get rid of the circle and the square first. You know what? That it is true that I have been approaching this the wrong way. Leonardo da Vinci, I almost said DiCaprio. Leonardo da Vinci almost made this supposedly on his idea of like what an ideal specimen is. I'm already the ideal specimen. So rather than trying to fit into the circle and the square, I need to make the circle and the square fit me. You might not like it, but this is what peak male performance looks like. I'm not like that jobber Friezo or that washout Cell. Alright, I'm in my perfect form day one. Broke the mold with me, that's right. I don't know what kind of goat gene deficiency they had that made them act like that. Well, I mean, for Cell, it was literally that he just didn't have like the batteries from 16 and 18, or 17 and 16. But Frieza has no excuse. All right. I do wonder if they ever came up with like a canon reason why Frieza didn't just start out in his strongest form. Like there is an argument to be made that he didn't need to do it, but like nobody needs to do anything. That was his problem? That's true. Because he's a lazy ass. But like even after alright, so like in like the Broly movie, from what I remember, he wasn't even in his like first form anymore. He was just like permanently on his third form. Is that because like maybe that is it that being in his third form like took up too much stamina, and like now that he's like done training after the tournament of power or whatever the fuck, he's like he got golden after training, which shows how little effort he put in beforehand. God. Honestly, like was Frieza the first recorded like individual of his species to get gold? Because if so, then that means like there is like some kind of species-wide pandemic of being washed. There's like some kind of issue among his entire among like the entire culture and civilization of the Frieza of like the Frieza species. Not to mention, like, if you're the first dude in the history of your species to, like, achieve a super form, you kind of have to start earning that idea of, like, you're him, right? Like, that's why I can't even fault Frieza for being, like, an arrogant asshole after he got gold. Like, if I was the first Ecuadorian to achieve a super mode, I would also think that I'm Himothy a little bit. Alright? I would also assume that I'm the Himulation. The only other canon one of his race is dad, and now he's like the equivalent of Form 2. Holy shit! So he knew this entire time that like his dad could do it. Maybe am I understanding that correctly? Because like then there's really no excuse. Man, how are you like? There's just so many questions, and I really shouldn't question this thing because like the thing is that even if there is a reason why, there's a reason why for anything. Right? I shouldn't really think about it too hard. Super Saiyan was also possibly pretty rare too, depending on how you interpret it. Yeah, that I have no issues believing because literally the whole thing was that it was like some kind of prophesied myth. Right? And I think like in a non-canon movie, Bardock got Super Saiyan. But you know, if that's the case, right? With that being the case, I can understand it because like it's I can understand Super Saiyan being rare because Goku is just him. All right. I will forgive the Saiyans for not discovering Super Saiyan because it literally took fucking Goku to understand that that shit was achievable. You know, it's kind of like how every so often there will be like an Olympic athlete that just like takes whatever paltry human limits we have concocted for ourselves and just goes like, yeah, no, those are not real. Right? Like Simone Biles, who did like 15 flips in one go or some shit, it is set like a new paradigm for what is possible. I think it's just Frieza and his race are out of the gate pretty strong, so they never felt the need to get even stronger. They are the opposite of Goku because he learned there are ways stronger guys. Frieza never learned it. That is a very important core part of it, I think. You know, and I don't want to sound like a what if YouTuber, but like what if Frieza had like a Master Roshi-esque figure in his life? Like if that was the case, then the shit on Namek would have been well and truly fucked. I mean, maybe not though, because like Goku showed pretty decisively that Super Saiyan 1 even, base Super Saiyan could like, well no, I guess there's no such thing as base Super Saiyan, but Super Saiyan 1 could pretty handily whoop Frieza's ass even without training. So I do wonder to what extent him having it before, you know, Frieza training before meeting Goku would have even changed anything. It's a mystery. You could argue that his Master Roshi-esque figure is Goku. Frieza is still just an asshole after. God, it really is crazy to think that Goku is now like at the perfect stage to be like training somebody new, like, and like that is the whole thing with Oob, right? Like that was like the whole thing that Oob was going to be about before that got canned for whatever reason. Probably because Goku is everybody's guy. God. One of these arms is different from the other. Toriyama always accidentally makes peak thematic writing. Rest in peace, big dog. Sometimes intentional, sometimes intentional. Might need to like shorten these guys a little bit. Damn, this Vitruvian man shit is kind of hard to figure out sometimes. Hang on, I could just kind of just grab this other one, flip it around and mirror it. A little less than that. God, I am now imagining somebody who just accidentally makes peak thematic writing on accident every time. Just kind of wondering what their life is like. Okay, now we can do a circle. That was easy. Although the sizing is a little bit off, it looks a little bit lonely here. Maybe we just put it dead. Whoops. Maybe we just put this thing dead in the middle. I need like a block of text down here to write some bullshit in. Actually, you know what? What we could do is have like a... Hang on. A kind of like info box about the different parts of my body. Lorem ipsum could work. That's true. If I use a fucked up enough font, people might not realize that it's actually lorem ipsum. Here we go. Where's that lorem ipsum generator? I like your idea better. Damn it. And here I thought I could get away with it. Use the B-movie script. That is like an out of... I don't know. I don't find... The B-movie script copy pasta does not bring me the same joy that it used to at some point. What'd you come up with for your body parts? You could always do what you want. That's true. It is your stream schedule. Let me find a good, like, handwritten font. Actually, I might have some among my resources. Let me look it up. Where is it? Here it is. Handwriting. Right, do I still have that one that shows the fontview.exe? Here we go. All right. I wanted to have like some kind of scratchy texture. I wanted to look a little bit chicken scratchy, so it's a little bit harder to make out. All of these are a little bit too neat. This one's called Candy Beans. Oh, that's kind of cute. Chunky felt. This one might not work, actually. It's checkered pencil crayons. What's Candytown about? That's the same shit. Chunky felt. I like how this one looks, and I think it's called that because of the fact that it looks a little bit like felt writing. This one's kind of cool too. Dangerous liaisons. You know, I remember another memory that I remember very closely is seeing the movie Despicable Me for the first time. And there's a point in the movie where the main antagonist, Vector, I think his name is, writes a note to Gru and it's like, I took the kids to bring the moon, right? Like, it's a kidnapping ransom note. And what really struck me at that time was that the handwriting was in all caps. And I had never seen that done before. I'd never seen somebody whose handwriting was just all caps. And you could say that it's because like he meant to emphasize it, so it's like all caps just in that regard, or like it's block letter, so it's not recognizable. But it was very striking for some reason. And I gotta say, between handwriting with like normal capitalization and lowercase methodology, writing in all caps kind of goes hard, right? Like handwriting in full block letters. I've done that a couple of times. What I've been doing is that I've recently been keeping a like small erasable board by the side of my desk that tells me what I need to do, what I need to have pending for that week. And it is so satisfying just like going ham with like full all caps. Just going at it like, friggin' get eggs, right? Like even something like that, if you write that in all caps, just feels really good. I don't know why. Something very, very satisfying about it. This one's called Scaremonger. My dad used to, or currently does that, and I always thought it was really interesting too. The reason for the uncertainty is because I haven't seen his handwriting in a while. I think it's because his first language doesn't really have capitals or lowercase. Huh. That might be an interesting reason for why that occurs in real life. Fucking collect my pages as font. God, talking about the B movie copy pasta. Actually, I mentioned that joke. Like, I used to think that was peak in high school, right? I thought that was a great bit back in high school. Nowadays, my distaste for it has grown somewhat. But nowadays, right, a bit has like such a short half-life. Font is trying to do its best to scare you. Really? Huh. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I feel I remember. I don't know. Like, jokes have it feels like it has like 2 or 3 weeks, right? You used to be able to milk a joke for months, and it'll be fine. You know, it used to be a trend overall. But now it's like 2 weeks, and if your joke is still around, was both too long and died very easily. That might have been a relative thing for me. I might have just clung onto it a little bit more, a little bit longer than most people. The moment you recognize that it's over, God. My aunt kept wasting my sister's time on Facebook by sending her QAnon shit, so I told my sister to send the B movie script back in return. The last argument of kings. I've been saying. Whoops. What's good? What? Hang on. Don't need that. That's awesome. But yeah, no, stuff gets old way too easily nowadays. And I know this more than anything because today I was listening to that song by Creepy Nuts, Bling Bong Bong Born, right? We hasn't socialized with her in like 5 or 6 years now. Seems to have been the right move, I think. Which one was the one that I said was like kind of interesting? I remember seeing one that I really liked. Not this one. No added sugar. But yeah, I was listening to Bling Bong Bong Born, and I saw a comment that said, "Who's still here in 2025?" And I had to like cross my arms a little bit and kind of like give that you know that thing that dogs do when they don't quite understand something, so they turn their head like 45 degrees. Like, that song came out last year. That is a 2024 banger. Possibly late 2023. I'm not sure. But yeah, absolutely within like the 2024 is when I felt like it was the most relevant. Was it per less? No. It was somewhere around here, I remember. Yeah, no. The comments like those don't really bug me so much for like songs that are like more than they're on every video regardless of age. That's not something that used to happen to me, right? Like I used to I like sometimes I would see a song from like 2013 and I'd see somebody saying like who's here in 2025 still. And like I'd be like, all right, that's fair. That's fair game. It's been more than a decade. You know, you get to have a little bit of nostalgia for that. But then it's like the song came out last year, and I'm just kind of wondering. It is just very shameless clout chasing. Seriously, where the fuck did that font go? I should have saved that immediately. No, it was around here, because I remember making the joke about the collect my pages one here. It's one of you. It's one of you bastards, and I don't know which one it is. Smooth marker? Please, for the love of God, where is it? But yeah, no. I will say that it is cool when you have... it was kind of like this one. It's not this one. Not this one either. Not that one either. Come on, I know it's somewhere around here. It's really hard to find it. I like this one that's called You Are a Toy. Thinly handled. Thoroughbred, no. God damn it. Oh god, this one's kind of messy. Was it a scary name or no? I don't remember. This one's got a lot of personality to it, though. I like this one. I like how neat this one is, too. Like the big T. Bones to your generic script font. Is that a phrase like bones to X is like saying like forget about it? Like forget about your script text? This is the one. This is the one. Found it. Okay, cool. Friggin' finally, alright. Now how did I add one? I remember that I think it's... Yeah, here we go. Add font from files. And then I can just add it to my downloads folder. I was looking like way too far back. What the? Oh, there it is. Okay, perfect. Whew! All right. Alright, so let's try and figure out some details for what we're gonna add here. Hang on. Do we have like an entry from Pliny the Elder or something? Because I'm thinking that what we can do is, if we have an idea of what the natural history by Pliny, if we have some experts of what that looks like, we might be able to make like a similar page. It's a little bit... That seems like it might be difficult to swing, actually. Like, if you take a look here. Seems to be very much one big illustration on one side and then a bunch of text on the other. Plinio il Vecchio. Guy whose name is... Pliny is already not necessarily a name with a lot of teeth on it, but Plinio in Italian feels like it's just much less threatening somehow. I don't know. There are names that sound like menacing, right? Okay, so 1, mouth for biting, eating, or cussing. 2. Plinio is not a menacing name, no. Limbs. Short and stumpy. The rest of him. Grip strength. I don't actually know my grip strength. I'm gonna say like... Hang on. Standard grip strength adult male. Okay, here we go. Hand grip strength norms. Top end sports. Age 10 to 11, weak, normal, and strong. Okay, so in my age range, the normal grip strength is 37 to 57 kilograms. So for reference, remember how there's like this one Hololive girl, the Angel Girl Kanata, who has like a 50 kilogram grip strength? The norms for women's grip strength is like it caps out at around 25 to 40 normally. Even for men, like on the strong side is like greater than 50, but still within like 50. God damn. So yeah, I'm gonna say like grip strength maybe 25 kilograms. I'm gonna lowball myself just so that when it does end up being relevant, I can surprise people. Running speed. Alright, let me rely on the strength norms. Always keeping guessing, that's right. Let's see. Standard, top speed, chart. How fast do Harley Davidsons go? That's right, I'm as fast as a slow Harley Davidson. Our top speed humans chart. I don't know. Insights by age and gender. Here we go. Let's take a look. Okay, so average speed miles per hour is, for my age, around 9 miles per hour. How much is that in kilometers? 9 mph in kmph. About 14. I'm going to say 10 kilometers per hour. With chanclas. Going to add a little... Hang on. How much do I weigh? I remember it was pretty solid. It always hovered from like 95 to like over 100 kilos. Are the chanclas holding you back or are they enhancing your movement? Holding me back. Unknown top speed. Without. Gotta retain a little bit of mystery. I'm gonna drop them like Rock Lee weights. I don't know, I'm gonna say like 106 kilograms. The exact moment I was thinking of. Yeah. It's like a very dramatic moment, like when Rock Lee drops his weights, but mine just kind of like bounce harmlessly off the pavement. like it's framed with the exact same of like drama of it, but they just like it just like dunk dunk dunk. Also, this text is very hard to read. Let me see if I might not just use something else. Oh, that looks awful. Okay, that's Scaremonger regular. What about... That's a bit much also. Hang on. I might just go back and grab another one of these. How about... Okay, I think I know which one I want. They squeak like toys when they hit the sidewalk? That would be really funny. God. Okay, let's use this one. Okay, and I think I should include those like power scaling stats at the very end. What should I say for hands? Actually, no, hang on. Eyes. NA. What else is there? And draw 1 million lines a second. That's actually a good one. All right. Six, biomass. So, and then what else is there? There's really not much else, is there? All right. Let's drop this off down here. I really got to start organizing my folders on this file a little better, but I kind of like the chaos. Actually, I should put the 1 here and the 3 in the other bubble. I like calling like the core of my body my biomass. There's something very fun about it. I'm gonna put the 4 over here. Just want to have a more even spread of these. There we go. Alright, I think we have time for one more. And this does carry us all the way to the beginning of March, I think. Maybe a little bit more. I kind of want to use the Chainsaw Man one as like the primary reference. Oh god, he's surrounded by 2 Makimas. What have I done? Genuinely a worst case scenario for my guy Denji. He's got it bad enough as it is. I really gotta get my shit together and watch a good-ass movie one of these days. I know that there's a movie called Hundreds of Beavers that's free to watch on YouTube with ads. So I've been meaning to find some time to watch that one. I hear it's a very compelling movie. Okay, we can put these all in a folder down here. I remember that at some point I did have a sketch for this idea of like a vitruvian paths, but I think I lost the notes for it somewhere. I'm gonna need to see if I can find a place where I have the original information, because I remember I wrote some banger lines for that. Here we go. All right, then over here, that's going to be like this, and then like this. And we can make those shadows using the halftone layers. These are some huge seats, by the way. Like, I'm not sure why they needed to make the... This is like the opposite of that bit from Zoolander, where it's like, what is this, something or other for ants? This is like for giants. This is like a movie theater for people who have like qualified as a Rikishi. I messed up the mirroring. Let's try this. Wait, where's the... Oh, dang it. Hang on. I lost the original reference for it. Let's see. Okay, bring this one out over here, and put this one closer to here. That's more or less in the center. From there, I can just figure out the rest by myself. Symmetrical ruler right around here. God, he looks so tiny in this seat. Are movie theater seats normally this big? Like, I feel like I'm being... I know Fujimoto's art has its ups and downs sometimes, but like this... This feels like some kind of internal psyop to make movie theater seats bigger. Baby. That is true. He's still a growing boy. He's still not fully filling that out the seat. I remember reading somewhere. It does look kind of padded, honestly. I remember reading somewhere that in certain... You know how, like, for TV shows they used to have that, that one disclaimer at the beginning that's like, this show was filmed in front of a live studio audience. And that's where the laugh track would come from? I remember reading somewhere, and please don't take this as official word, but I remember reading somewhere that in those live studios they actually kept the temperature a little bit colder than it should have been in order to make people more tense and more likely to laugh. Because for whatever reason, when they were like all like shuddering from the cold for some reason, they were more likely to emote and laugh. It was very strange. But I could see the logic behind it. I think I remember where I read it from, too. I used to have this tiny black book that I asked my parents to get me. And it was called, like, the Book of Secrets or something. And it just had a bunch of random trivia about stuff that you wouldn't normally think about. Like, I think that's where I learned about the studio audience thing. Again, though, I feel like that might have been exaggerated. The one that I know that was definitely exaggerated was this book. And this book helped me a lot, mind you. I am not bad-mouthing this book by any degree. But it's this book called How to Talk to Anyone, written by, I think it was this lady called Neo Loneless or something like that. Lone Des. Something like that. It had a very popular art cover, and I borrowed it from my brother before he moved out. And it had a lot of useful tricks for, as the name implies, kind of talking to anyone. So it discussed like different tactics for like showing that you're paying attention, how to like, properly introduce someone at a function. It was very useful for me, who had very limited understanding of such skills at that time. I read it in the summer before I went to university, so I really do feel like it did help me a lot. We talk a good game about like how self-help books are kind of garbo, but at the same time, a lot of them do have good and genuine advice. They wouldn't be selling so well if they weren't, because there's a couple of ways that self-help books can sell well, right? One of them is if they have genuinely helpful advice, and a lot of them do. Some of them also like do this thing where they affirm your belief but help you reframe it just enough that it feels like you're making a change. Not so much it's more of it's like an adjustment by degrees rather than a whole new paradigm. And I think people like that because it helps them to kind of ease into that change. And small changes can have a surprising impact. The ocean, the ocean, for example, if the ocean's temperature changes by like 2 or 3 degrees, to us that's like, oh, that's not too bad. But it has huge repercussions for marine life. So even small changes like that could actually have a big impact. That's why those corals are bleaching. That's right. Thank you. Shout out to Amelia Watson. Because of it getting slightly warmer. God, it's so crazy to me. It's really funny. Not funny, actually, but very fascinating to me that in addition to the silly-ass random trivia that they made up for the different Hololive members in that aquarium, they also just had straight-up just normal marine life facts. Let's just get rid of that ruler. The world's fakest creatures and also global warming is real. I do think that is the secret sauce to a lot of things, is not to just dabble in a single thing. Like, all the most entertaining horror movies have a degree of comedy in them. All the most entertaining comedy movies have a degree of horror or some other aspect mixed in there. But you need to have something that's kind of like unrelated to your ultimate delivery, I think, to have like a good, powerful mix of cinema. Oh yeah, I guess I need to turn all these into like 4 brush size things. There we go. But yeah, like, for example, Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door, one of the most critically acclaimed games of all time. For whatever reason, you not only have a segment where you're a pro wrestler, you have a segment where your body is literally stolen by a demonic ghost thing, and you have to fight to get it back. Like, what the fuck was that about? Really good game. Happens all the time? That's true. Honestly? Nowadays you see a lot of people getting hacked by Discord things or, clicking on an innocuous link and getting their whole shit friggin' Rumpelstiltskined. But it's a very real kind of issue. Besides the ordinary cases of like actual literal possession that happen, but you know, that's neither here nor there. We have exorcists can deal with that shit by themselves, all right? They don't need us to interfere with their work. I am kind of conflicted on how to do the tiers, because I was thinking about like having them like this. Horror absolutely needs comedy, which is why Sam Raimi is the greatest horror director ever. That's true. That is why the Evil Dead persists in the cultural psyche, despite it not having had like... It had an impact, but it's hard to say that it was like... You know, it's not like the Friday the 13th or Halloween movies where it kept getting like millions and millions of reboots, spin-offs, whatever. And I think that's a good thing. I do sincerely think that is a good thing that it never got those. Because if we're being real, most of those sucked. They were not very good. Can you have tools sitting next to you cut off by the edge of the artwork? Why not? Sure. Actually, you know what? Tool can get the teary eyes. I do like the idea of Tool just being 100% locked in. Hang on, where is... Ah, here we go. But yeah, I do like the idea of Tool just being 100% locked in to the emotional implications of whatever movie we're watching. That is fair. They actually haven't seen as many movies as I have. You know, he was only born like what, 2 or 3 years ago. So, you know, he's had some time to catch up, but you know, he's also a busy guy, girl, whatever, person. Yeah, I don't know. They've been really upping their game with like having 5 different sets of pronouns. The other day I was trying to introduce them, right? And you know, I was like, "Hey, this is my buddy Tool. He does," and Tool cut me off, and he's like, "Actually, I'm she right now. She does. I'm they now. Well, they do. Back to he." And you know, we kept going on like that for like 5 minutes. Honestly, it was a really good bit. I can't even fault them for it. But it did make it a little bit. It did take a while to introduce them. I also wanted to have the projector very clearly in the frame. I'm also going to put this seat a little bit further out. Like this. Same with this one. Okay, let's start figuring out how to approach the color for this piece. Because I feel like a lot of the effect up here is going to depend on just the rest of the shading for the picture. Okay, let's see. Just around here, I'm gonna say. And we can have a slightly darker shade up here for the other seats. Yeah, with a gradient too, why not? Actually, I could probably multitask a little bit here. Hang on, let me get rid of the text up here. Okay, and then just blend this out a little bit more. And then over here, oh god, this yeah, this definitely needs an ordinary lasso tool more than it needs a square marquee tool. This definitely feels like a lasso kind of situation, me when I'm a cowboy. I think we could probably use a gradient tool. There we go, just like that. And we can do a one for tool as well. Wait, what's happening? Oh, there we go. It lagged for a second and I got real worried. Something about the shadow doesn't sit right with me. Yeah, the issue might have been that it was a little bit too dark. It was a little bit difficult to make out. Oops. All right, let's try this. And just blend that out. Okay, maybe not the blender tool. Maybe the round watercolor brush might be more appropriate. Yeah, alright. A little bit of back and forth, a little bit of back and forth. Now we can just go back and repair this section. I have an idea for how to do this next part as well. Hang on. Let me just get up here and remove the text again, so just so I can fill in these last few little bits. Okay, then get rid of these. And what we're gonna do is that we're going to do a funny little trick here. We're going to make that layer transparent. Get rid of this February text here. Grab this area in between. Go back down. Use a mask. And then what we're going to do is we're going to have this like, oh god, that was not the intended effect. Wait, I know what to do. Okay, I have an idea for how to do this, actually. You know what? This actually looks kind of rad with the pink on black. Might have to adopt a similar approach at some point. Officially. In an official capacity. But yeah, the idea here is that now we are going to use... Nope, that's not working. ¿Cómo debería hacer esto? Because what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to do something similar to what I had... Was it around here? Yeah, in this Hitomania one. Or no, maybe it wasn't Hitomania. Maybe it was like... It was in this one. Right. I really liked how this little part here came out. So I'm trying to see... how I... Okay, hang on. This might work. What? Oh, wait, I see what's happening here. Hang on, I just gotta do one more quick little thing. Okay, getting warmer. And now what we'll do is... increase the frequency by a lot, and then make it pink. Not bad, but I'm not a huge fan of some parts of it. What if we decrease the opacity a little bit? Oh, okay. Now we're cooking. Hang on. What we might be able to do is use the contrast to do this for us. Okay, yeah, this will work. Pick color from layer, this one here. Okay. Now the next step of my master plan. Actually, what is the next? What would be the next step after this? Right, the next step would actually be using a different layer to make the effect of the camera going through. And that's when we'll bring back this part. Well, this does give me an idea. I could just very quickly exploit this part here. Oops, that might be a bit much. But yeah, that looks a little bit better. Okay, the next part. We need like some kind of like flare effect. So maybe free to modify, share, and use commercially. Is there no flare effect for on Wikipedia or nothing? I guess we're gonna have to. I guess we're gonna have to do this one ourselves. I have an idea for how to do it as well. Hang on. So filter, radial blur outward. Not radial blur, maybe motion blur. Or maybe Gaussian blur is actually the one to use. Yes, okay. And what we can do as well is just motion blur this in a couple of different directions. So maybe like 90-degree angle? Nope, that's not working. Maybe 180-degree angle. What else should I do? The problem is as well that I can't figure out which way to... Is it radial blur? Wait, no, it would be radial blur, actually. I just need to put the X in the right place. Yes, okay, and maybe Gaussian blur this part too. what we could also do is that in addition to having them be with the proper lighting effects, what we could also do is apply them to a halftone layer, really high frequency, and then just play around with the... Hang on. Copy, paste. Actually, hang on. How does it look with, like, the two of them? It kind of loses structure a little bit. Let's stick to the original plan. And then we use the normal pink color for the dark side. No, that doesn't look too good from a distance. Let's just forget about the edits. Okay, that should do it for this one. This should last me until the first week of March. I also have a backup one just in case. I don't know, there's some stuff that I gotta get done and I gotta eat dinner. I think now would be a good time to end things here for today. Still, that was pretty relaxing. Well, more time intensive, but these are slightly more complicated ones. And that's kind of why I wanted to spend time on stream doing them. I think it's just neat to see the process behind the scenes. But yeah, hopefully you'll be seeing at least one of these tomorrow. Unless I get unless like a perfect opportunity drops sometime in the following 24 hours, and I'm like, I have to draw that. You're probably going to see at least one of these out there. In the meantime, take it easy and enjoy the rest of your weekend, and I will see you all next week. Catch you later. Bye.